Good evening, it's Rachel here, Rachel Byass Ceramics. I'm going to show you a quick workshop to give your loved one perhaps for Christmas. So I thought I would paint a simple design on this heart and another simple design on this heart, and then Liz is going to show you how to use the easy writers. So we'll crack on because it's very late. We're doing this very late. It's about 12:30 at night, I think. So I'm going to use two brushes only. I'm just going to use a number 6 round and a liner and a bit of brushwork and some underglazes and a sponge. So it's really easy. So off we go. I've got my colours and I've put just a small amount of paint out because you don't need very much. You could use any product. I'm using colour to clay, but you could perhaps use a one stroke because you're only going to do one stroke with everything, or an M-Gobe of some description. Or you could even do it in acrylics. There is a little piece here, there's a little already that I've done with acrylics, which this could have wording on it. This is the top of a box and it's brush strokes. So I'm going to load the paint up, and I think I'm going to do some chrysanthemums. So I'm fully loading the round brush. It's a number 6, but everybody's brushes do vary. And then I'm loading with a dark pink there to make a blend. And you could even, if you wanted, put a tiny bit of green on the side. It can look quite interesting. Then I'm going to hold the piece up like this and just do a small stroke. So I start the 2 strokes and I try to make them different lengths. So I'll do a left and a right, and one side will be slightly longer than the other, and I'll come to a point. Now if you want, you can put a tiny point somewhere that you're going to actually come to. I use my little pinky to lean, and you put tip and you put the pressure on and then pull up and the pressure off. Okay, so if you, I don't know if the camera can see this, but you can see that it's gone from dark to light, and there is a tiny bit of green in it. I'll load up again. I think I could do a little bit of water in my brush. There's another little for you. So load the brush. Make sure you fully load the brush. So as I push down on the brush, it'll load inside the brush, and then I'm going to just put a small amount of the darker pink and a tiny bit of green. And then the next one, I sort of think these are like a pair of horns. I'm going to put that one there. So tip, pressure on and pressure off. Okay, so that's the start of your flower, and then you just keep going. So tip with that, a small amount of green, and make them all different lengths, and try to vary the colour. Try to make sure that it doesn't get muddy within the brush. If it does, just swirl your brush. So put your pinky here so that you can keep the brush perpendicular, and tip, pressure on and pressure off. And as you can see, all the time I'm coming back to that dot that I did in the first place. A little bit of green. Now I'm going to turn it. So I'm going to start to do the bottom of the flower. So tip, pressure on and pressure off. Same to that spot again. And then tip, pressure on and pressure off. Back to that spot again. And then turn it around the other way and start to come back up into the spot again. So pressure on and pressure off. Pressure on and pressure off. There's a tiny one. And then I'm going to put a few dark ones in the very middle. Just the dark. So you can see it over the top of the other ones. Okay, so there you go. Just one flower. So I'm going to clean the brush off. And then I'm going to use a liner. So I'm going to pull the liner through the light green and the dark green. And I'm going to pressure on, pressure off. Actually, it's not enough liquid in it, so I'll do it again. So tip, pressure on, and pressure off, and get as far as you can with that stroke. And then I'm going to give it some leaves. So again, I will pull the brush through slightly thin paint and give it a couple of leaves. So one here, one here, and now I'm going to fill those leaves. Swirl my brush, never leave them in water. Always swirl them. And just take the water out a little bit. Usually I have a piece of paper towel. There we go. Just pop that there. And then if I've got too much water, I can just dab it. Now when you do the leaves, I'm going to load with the minty colour. Fully load. It's too wet, that brush, I can tell. Just take a bit out. Fully load with that. And then tip it with the darker colour. And I'm going to start at the top of the leaf. So tip, pressure on, and pressure off. Then again, now this is when you don't want to make it look like teeth. So when you start with that one, and then the next one, I'm going to mark it with a pen, which will burn off. I'll use a biro. Pass me that red biro, Liz. Thank you. So if you're worried about what happens quite often is people do this. They'll have the leaf like this. Can you see this? And then they're like little teeth. They're going like this. And they're all the same size and they're all the same shade. So it just looks like a little row of teeth. But what you're going to do is you're going to do that first line and then you start bringing that one in. And then the next one is not adjacent to it. It's not there. It's lower down. Does that make sense? And then the next one, and then the next one, and they're all at different in a different place. So that's the first one. And then I'm going to tip, pressure on and pressure off. Might put a bit of this other green in it. So this is what you don't do. You don't go right opposite that. So it's got to be lower down. There we go. And then the next one lower down. And then lower down. You see? They're not opposite each other. Okay, so then I'll do this other leaf. Pressure on and pressure off. Pressure on and pressure off. On, off. Okay, so there you have a small flower. Right, so now I'm just going to put some small hearts on just to add a bit of interest. So I could paint them, but as I've got a sponget handy, I'm going to use what I've done with this sponget. It's this medium one with the assorted different size spongets on it, or you could have used this one if you wanted and chop it up. So what I've done with the other one is I've just chopped it up. Look. So I've got all the different sizes, sponges, and then I can choose which one I want. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sponges on there. And I like this little one here. There we have another little. I've nearly stopped saying it. I'm going to do pink hearts. So the sponge is slightly damp, but not wet. And then you put the colour on and you just tap the piece. And there you've got a heart, and you could make more different coloured ones. Pop one there. And it's nice to have odd numbers. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll have one there. And then I'm going to leave that for now because I'm going to let Liz write a little saying. A wee saying, seeing as she's Scottish. No, it's not that I can't write, but Liz is better. And I do find the pens very easy to use, but it doesn't make you a great writer if you can't write anyway. My writing is not the best of writing, but I have found it's much better since I've been using this. Or you can do it with a brush if you haven't got a pen. So over to Liz. She's going to write a nice saying to a loved one. Oh, I thought I'd got a dirty mark on it's where the ribbon goes. I'm looking at what's that spot there.
So I'm just going to tip the camera down a little bit so we can see. I don't want to show my face or anything like that. We're just trying to get a flow first. So I'm going to just put this saying here.
So inside this pen, we've put black. I haven't got one with the label on, but anyway, it's black colour to clay. But you could use a one stroke if you wish. You can actually use acrylic, obviously not on this because it's a 5-piece, and you can put glue in it, all sorts of things in it. Now we found that when we're using the clay paint, we thin it to an what would you say? Would you say an ink? What percentage would you say to water? Would you say 50-50, or do you think it's
a little bit less than that?
About to say 70% paint to 30 water, about?
Probably about that, yeah.
About that. And then what we did was we put, what do you say, about 5 drops of a product called, where is it? I don't know where it is.
It's here.
Oh, thank you. So a product called Enhancer. And Enhancer thickens anything. So it doesn't have to be a firing paint. It can be a glaze, an underglaze. It can be your dipping glaze even. If you're having problems with your dipping glaze making run marks, you can just put a few drops of the Enhancer. You need to give it a good shake because it settles out a little bit. And I have no idea what it's made out of, but it does many, many things. And one thing that we found that we really like about it is it makes it easier to write your verse, which Liz has done a really nice verse there.
So I've just done something that I saw on the internet, which I thought was really nice.
Which says,
everything I've never done, I want to do it with you.
Oh, I think that's really nice. Not too soppy, it's just about right. And then I look at it. I really like that. Yeah, that's nice. That writing's lovely, Liz. And I'm going to put a couple more hearts, and I think I'll use a slightly bigger one. So make sure the heart's slightly damp, and it's gone into the sponge. And I'll put a big heart there, or a bigger heart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, can't have 6. Got to have 7. And I'll put 1 there.
So that writing was using the yellow Easy Writer, the yellow one with the yellow nib on, which is the medium size.
There you go. So that's done. So 7 hearts, a chrysanthemum, and a verse in what, 10 minutes perhaps. So that would be nice for Christmas, for somebody special in your life. Or you could save it and do that technique for Valentine's, because by the time we get into February, I'm hoping we'll be a bit more like normal and people can come in to paint. Right, I'm quickly going to do one more. So I'm going to do this small plate here, but I'm not going to, I possibly might not paint anything on it. I just thought we'd have a verse and try the blue pen. So if this is slightly damp, and you can paint it with your finger. So you can put on the hearts. I've used the ribbon and heart one. And I put it on so that this is how you can get multicolours on the same sponge. I find doing it with the finger easier than painting it on with a brush, and quicker. So I'm making sure that it's absorbed into the ribbon. Oh, I haven't got to the ribbon yet, yeah. The heart.
It's because you were looking at the ribbon while you were doing the heart.
Yeah, that's right. So I have those 2 colours there, and give this one a darker one. Like that. And I'll just wipe it off the paper, and then I'll give it some jade ribbons. You see, you can see I'm actually squeezing the sponge to open it up. So I hope some of Drew's students are watching. We have a lady who sells these for us in America. So they'll be able to watch this and have a go. So there, I haven't, oops, I spoke too soon. Haven't got any pink, green, I was going to say, on a heart, and I just have. Just put a tiny bit over it. Okay, so now Liz is I'm gonna stamp this on this small plate, and then Liz is gonna do another verse. So I'm gonna put that up in this corner, like so, pop it down. Now the nice thing about a sponge is it will go around corners, so I'm not pushing very hard because I don't want to distort the design, because I'd still like to have hearts and ribbons that look like hearts and ribbons. So that's that done, and hopefully if it doesn't do it completely, you can just get a brush and fill in the bit that's missing. Right, so it's pretty much, there's just one tiny bit missing in that heart there, that big one, where it's popped and it's not there. So now it is, it's there. And if you wanted, you could, there's a small flower here that I pinched off one of the other sponges that had lots of these flowers on. So what colour could we have the flowers, or should we stay with that colour scheme, or should we have blue?
Okay. I'd quite like to stay with that colour scheme. It's quite nice to think
Okay,
sometimes.
so we'll just put a small amount of paint on the flower, and then if you tap the edges like so with that dark colour, that'll be a two-tone flower, and then you can just put, you don't have to put many on, and you don't have to keep reloading, because it will have enough on to do 3 or 4 flowers with one application of paint. It's a strong paint. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will do 5. And then if you want to put a wee leaf on there, you could do a little stroke leaf, load with a bit of light green, tip with a bit of dark green, or you could do some say press it on and off, whoops, on off, on off. So this is just a small comma stroke with a lovely liner. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll do, I think, 5 bits of leaves. Oh, I don't know. I think it really needs one over there. Can't help myself. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6. So I've got to have one over there because I can't have the same amount. Can't have even numbers. And then a tiny dot in the middle of those flowers. Go for that lime green. And if it's missed, there's a tiny petal there that looks like it ran out of paint. You could line it back up, or you can get a liner. Oh, except for it'd have a green petal with that colour, wouldn't it? So it's very late. There we go. Okay, so there's a redesign, and then Liz can do her best to write a little saying on there. Now this is with a thicker pen.
No, the thinner one.
Oh, the thinner one, sorry. Yeah, so she's going to write with this, and this has also got black paint in with a little bit of enhancer in it. It sounds silly because you think, well, why put enhancer in to thicken it? But it thickens it in a different way to the way that it would thicken if you left it as solid paint. It just helps it flow better. I mean, lots of people are using the pens without putting anything in it, but I'm just telling you that we've actually found this helps a lot to get an easy write. Live, laugh, love, lovely. And then just to finish that off, is that done? You done? Mm-hmm. You could get let's have a look. You can just use the sponge, use the back of a sponge, look. and just get these so you don't waste your paint. Look like this, and then just tap, 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 tap. I thought I could use that one as well. Tap, tap, tap. Using up your paint just to make an edge. It's always great to do an edge like this if you haven't got a steady hand. Just go around, and that just kind of frames it a little bit. So I hope you've enjoyed that. That's two little designs I've done, which you can use for Christmas or Valentine's. And at the end of the video, all the products will be there and links to the products. And if you're a YouTube subscriber of ours and you comment and tell us what you thought of the video, you can actually email Rachel at findoutdesigns.co.uk, and I will send you a 30% off voucher that you'll be able to use in the YouTube bit that's in our website. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it, and do say underneath what else you might like to learn, because sometimes we're racking our brains thinking, wonder what they'd like to know out there, but they maybe already don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'm sorry we've not been full of glee tonight. We haven't had a drink. It's 12:30. We've done a live video on Facebook,
And we're very tired.
But we just thought, oh, let's do one. Let's sort of get a bit sort of ready for Valentine's, because in a business you've always got to be 3 months ahead really in what you're deciding to do. And actually we're almost scrapping Christmas, I think, aren't we? So let's think of good times to come next year. Anyway,
And Rachel has not done many littles tonight.
no, I haven't. I must be so tired, I've forgotten about the little. Anyway, and I didn't even have a little glass of wine or even a large one, just a glass of water. So anyway, we'll see you next time. Hope you've enjoyed it. Bye for now.
Bye.